Hey guys, welcome back. Nick here at Envision Prototypes. Well, as you can see, moved ahead quite a bit with this 1962 Cadillac Fleetwood restoration. Most of the car's been disassembled, the interior is out, most of the chrome's off the car, got a few more pieces to pull yet. We left off last time showing you the floors of this car. And that's one thing, if you're buying a car to restore or to enjoy, make sure you check it all out. Make sure you get in there with a mirror. It might look crazy, but in the end, it's going to pay off. Because if you got down on one knee and kind of looked underneath with a cell phone or a little light, the floors look pretty good until you get into the inner rocker area. And those diagonal braces that support the floor, well, all the garbage and grime over the past whatever years collected on top of that, water got trapped in there, it sat and it rotted away the inner rocker and floor braces. So we're gonna get this car up on the lift and we're gonna have to address all that underneath. But in the meantime, we're going to be pulling this engine out, get the front grille disassembled, get this cowl out, and just start working on the stuff that we can tackle while it's still on the floor. Before we start on the engine, let's take a look at the interior here. Now, what you're looking at there is the floor of the shop through that hole. Not the Cadillac floor. There's nothing there at all. And this is what came out. This is the matting that was holding the floor in place. And that held all the moisture that caused that to go. So we have that area to address. In front of the rear wheel there, there's a couple of things there. A little worse on the driver's side. Right there you can see those light holes there. And the same thing on the driver's side here. So that mat that just dropped down, that's basically covering up some of that issue. So we're going to have to take and cut all that out and fix that. But we also have to fix the bracing from the underside. So we'll support the floor, make sure nothing moves, and just start cleaning that up when it's on the lift. But for today, so in order to pull the engine out, I have to take and remove the rad hose, the upper one, the lower one. Hopefully it doesn't make too much of a mess. Take off any accessories, a cruise control, take the breather off, lift the engine out after disconnecting the drive shaft, of course, and we'll send it out for a rebuild. Probably send out the rad as well. It's an old rad, and you don't want to be running an old rad. You might need a recore, who knows, with a refurbished engine. And while that's being done, we'll take and clean up all the rust in through here, along the firewall, take that canister off, and just detail and paint everything so that when the engine comes back, it'll be the jewel of the engine compartment. Let's get started. Okay, so we just yanked the engine out. Wasn't too bad. Had to pull out one cross member. Basically sits in that spot right there. This is the next frame, so they need to stabilize the front rails. That's where they had it. So as soon as that came out, the engine slid out. And unfortunately, we did get a bloodbath on our hands. We hit the first pan, but the second pan, well, it kind of missed and spilt out. We had a jack under there, so it made it kind of difficult to collect everything. Not a problem. So I'm gonna go through, strip out all the wiring, pull all that stuff off. We've taken pictures of everything where everything has to be, and we'll clean up all the grease, all the rust, because you can't paint over this stuff here. It won't stick. And once that's all done, it'll get all primed and later painted. This engine bay is huge. You can probably park a smart car in there and still have room left over. Okay, so let's get things cleaned up. Starting with that oil there. Move the engine into storage and until it gets picked up, and then keep moving forward. Okay, good. Well, we're winning, guys. I've just disconnected these driving lights down here from the main harness, supported the front bumper, and I'm just about ready to undo the 2 bolts on each side. There's a provision for 2 bolts on each side, but they only used 2 bolts overall, 1 on each side, which is kind of strange, but it could have been a Friday car or a Monday car. Anyway, I'm going to jump into there, zip that bolt off. Hopefully this doesn't flop forward when I get that bolt off. We'll see what happens. This chrome is really peeling on the bumper here, and you got to watch because it's sharp as a razor blade, just cut right in like nothing. So far I've been lucky, touch wood. Okay, first bolt. Wow, that's seriously all that was holding this massive bumper on the front of this car. 1 bolt here and one bolt on the other side. Gonna get this wrench stuck in here. Hopefully it doesn't spin around too fast. Okay, we'll put these bolts back in the bumper, but I think that should be it. And the harnesses have been disconnected, so they won't hang us up on anything. Whoa. Oh my God. This thing is massive. I think I should have gotten a hand for it. These crates are buckling under the weight. I think they're 14 gauge or thicker, and all the reinforcement brackets, they're at least ½ inch thick. Probably 7/16. Now, unfortunately, the bottom's let go on the bumpers. If I manage to get this thing rolled up, I'll show you guys. Now, a whole bunch of stuff is going to pour out. That's it. Let's get this standing up. I'll bring you guys in. I'll show you what we were dealing with here. See that right there? Because moisture got in there underneath the chrome, it probably cracked. Water got in there, and it just rotted that 14 gauge away like it was nothing. So this is all going to have to be disassembled, both sides the same way. So we're going to have to disassemble this bumper completely and replace those bottom sections. Then we'll take and sandblast this thing, and the owner's actually been talking about blacking out the chrome. So that means not spending the money to re-chrome these bumpers, because that would take a lot. And we're just going to take and do some body work to them and paint them black. But overall, she's looking pretty good, pretty clean inside there. A little bit of surface rust, but we'll get the wire wheel, whatever, get it in there and just clean it up. So I figured get this bumper off, so it'll make it harder for me to climb into the engine compartment. But that's gonna be the dirtiest work right there, cleaning all that out. And we're gonna pressure wash it, but again, I don't wanna introduce water. This car has been stored in a dry environment, and I don't wanna introduce water into there. So we're gonna get the degreasers out and clean up and scrape all that oil off. We might even get down to original shiny metal because of all that oil coating. I'm gonna start pulling out all the harnesses and whatever else doesn't need to be in here. I decided to leave the power steering pump connected, because if you noticed, I was turning the wheels. If we had disconnected the power steering pump, we'd have oil squirting everywhere. So don't want that. Left it connected. We'll just move it up out of the way for now and then just work our way around it. It looks terrible, but really it's not too bad. All these chrome pieces, they'll get detailed later. And probably in the next episode, we'll get this cowl out. There's a bunch of fasteners in here that are stuck. That one's out. There's a few on the end. They just kind of corroded away. So I'm gonna show you guys how to remove stubborn fasteners like that and how we can clean up any surface rust on this panel. This cosmetic chrome piece will be removed and we'll clean that part up. So I'll probably turn that into an episode for you guys. A little how-to. But for now, let's strip out that engine bay. I'll bring you guys in when it's done. 1/2 inch and 9/16 sockets with an impact wrench can become quite addictive. Earlier we pulled that bumper off. That wasn't too bad, except for the weight. But taking the fenders off now, you can see what's falling out from underneath the car. See all the debris falling out from underneath? That's where the fender used to attach to the inner rocker. So all it has to be ground out, cleaned up, and freshened up. Car's a little bit shorter now. Looks quite different. That's the inside of the fenders. Structure. Doesn't look too bad. We'll find out more as soon as we grind that open. And this fender edge here, that has to be addressed. Because again, you can't cover that up. It'll always come back, just like this here. They painted over top of that, and well, the paint just peeled right off. So I still haven't gotten to washing the engine bay I should say, but we will get there. Once I sweep up all this stuff on the floor, or perhaps not, because that can absorb all the degreaser we're going to be using. We'll see. It gets a bit annoying walking around in it, but that's the process of restoring a classic car. It's going to transform a lot in the coming weeks and months. Okay, we got the back started and just about wrapped up. Those fender skirts back there. That's a driver's skirt sitting there. So all that's fitted up inside, but we have to address the bottom of the rocker over there yet. But that'll be done once the floors are done. Just see the exhaust hanging down. It rotted off. That's why it was so loud. We're going to do a chrome delete. This spear down the side of the car. We're going to eliminate that. Weld up those holes along the side there for the trim. And just kind of streamline the car. Do a black on black theme. That's what the owner was talking about. Now I got to get this bumper moved next door. That's going to be fun. Alright guys, I almost forgot to show you. Got that engine bay all washed, cleaned up, degreased. And now we can start preparing it for paint. Clean up all that rust. Make sure it's nice and clean. And finish it off. Now, you might be able to recognize our front valance. What do you guys think if we stuck that on the front of the Cadillac down below? It's for a 69 Camaro. Probably not. So, anyway, thanks very much for watching, and see you guys next time.